All right. So the key area, what we have been focusing from past few classes was how we can add our DAX calculation within the report so that we are leveraging the data what we have. And our key focus was using the products table because within the products table, we were having a list of all the products and we were having the ID columns. So as we have seen in terms of relationships, so we will be using the ID columns to have relationship. Apart from that, we have numerical data points. So you could see we have unit price, we have units in stock, we have units on order, and then we have a reorder level. So reorder level, again, it depends on the business, how they are treating that. But apart from that, we have this discontinued flag. Okay, so this data is combination of the dimensions, ID fields, and then we have this category field, and then the numerical data. So numerical data is upon which we will be mostly writing DAX related measures, and then we will be performing multiple calculations. And we kept our focus of doing an amount calculation. So you could see within this PBIX, I have one version of the amount calculation, which is using SumX. So we have seen when we use sum function, we can only reference one specific column. But let's say if you want to iterate for each specific row in a table, and if you want to do the calculation, then we use SumX. And then the syntax, it will accept two different parameters. So first parameter will be to give the table name, and then second parameter will be to provide the expression. So at each row level, the operation what we want to perform is to take the unit price. So if we take the first product here, then we are taking the unit price, and then we are seeing how many units we have in the stock. So that is 18 units multiplied with 39 units in the stock to get the output value. So initially when we started, we did a calculated column, then we compared a calculated column with a measure. Then we have seen that a measure will not take any space in your model, and then it will be very lightweighted compared to a calculated column. That is when we started with this DAX measure with using SumX and then with a specific formatting. And after that, you could see the symbol that denotes a measure is this calculator symbol what we have. And then the same way we am able to see another calculation added here, which is called the product count. So in this one, what we were trying to see was, so we now see list of all the products here in this products table, and then we see how many units we have in stock, and then what's the amount and all. But we want to see how many orders are we getting. So that is when we were doing count, and then we were taking the product ID within the invoices. So that means if I'm making an order for the first product, so let's say if I'm doing like 10 units order, so that would come within the invoices table that this person ordered 10 units of the first product. So similar way, if you all are ordering something, so all the information will be captured within the invoices table. So if we move ahead to the report view, where we were creating a report page, then on this one, you could see the first table visual towards the left. We have list of all the products, followed by we are showing the unit price. So unit price, we already have the column that is directly available. And then one thing to notice is whenever we are selecting a table visual, so within the fields pane, it will highlight the table from which we are getting those columns. So you could see the tick mark, the yellow tick mark, it's only showing on the products table, but not on any of the other tables that we have here. So that means if I expand products table, so this will show me all the columns that have been selected from the products table to display this table visual. So first column, what we are using is product name, list of all the products, unit price, again coming from the products, and then units in stock, and then amount version 1.0 is a calculation we don't have as a column, but we created as a measure. So same thing is for the product count. And then if I now want to rearrange this, then I could have units in stock and then product count side by side. So that way I will now have an understanding of the difference. So one thing what I could do is let me duplicate this report page and then let me rename this report page as inventory analysis. And instead of showing this as product count, let me rename this to units ordered. Okay. And for this, I'll come back again of how we were able to leverage the same measure, and then we were able to show the breakdown by category and product name. So I'm able to collapse, expand, and then see the breakdown. But for now, let me delete this because I'm completely focusing on my inventory. So I'm deleting this as well, and then the other table visual. So I have a very clean view here. I have the unit price, I have amount, and I have two key fields here, which is how many units I have in stock, and then how many units were ordered. So for now, I think we can also get rid of amount and unit price. And uh, so to have a better naming convention, so we see we don't have any space between product name. Then what we could do is I can come here within the visualization pane, and then on the product name, I can double click on this so that it will give me the option of renaming the field. I can give a space between that and then press enter. And then same thing, I could do it for the second field here. So I have units in stock, and then I'm pressing enter on this. So let me give a hyphen between in stock, and then we are good here. So now we followed a very better naming convention that will be good for your report users to read this report. And then you could see the units ordered. So we have the proper formatting where we have comma, but we don't have it for units in stock. And the other thing to observe here is units in stock is a direct field here. We don't have a measure created. So what we could do is we could create a measure for it, and then the measure will be pretty straightforward. So it will be just a simple sum operation. So what I could do is I can create a new measure, and then for this, I can name it as units in stock, which is equal to performing a sum operation. And then now we want to refer to that specific column. So this column is sitting in the products table. And from the product, so we have to say units in stock column and then done. So now you could see this is different to the amount calculation. Within the amount calculation, we were using SumX, but here we are using sum calculation, and I'm pressing enter. So you guys might have observed the first thing what I do once I create a measure is to format that measure. So that will come at the top within the measure tool. So you could see we can set the data type of the measure what you created. So this one is a whole number. We are good on that. And then I want to have a comma separator. So once we have that, let me try adding it beside the field which we created. And then you should be observing that we are getting the same number compared to the field which we directly used. So I can get rid of the the field which I directly use. The flexibility, what you will be getting with a measure, compared to directly using a field is you now will have an opportunity to modify your calculation. So let's say you added 10 more units for each product, then it will be very easy for you to update your calculation. So you could see the inventory what I had. So on top of it, I'm adding plus 10. So this is the flexibility provided by measure. And then when I update, you could see all the rows here are now getting updated. And then if I drag and drop units in stock field again, so you could see the difference here. 79 compared to 89 here because of the addition what we are able to see. So that's the advantage we will have if you create a measure instead of directly dragging and dropping the field. But if you see that you won't be making any further changes to the calculation, it's pretty straightforward. Then you can drag and drop and then you can use it. Okay, so here we are seeing how many units we have in stock and then how many units have been ordered. So now we have to get a difference whether we have those units available or do we have to order them or do we already have them. So that means we have to create a difference new measure. So that will be a difference between how many units we have in stock and then how many units that have been ordered. So for that, we have to add another measure. And for this, we will say difference is equal to, so when, so for a measure, you don't have to specify the table name. You could directly reference the measure name. So for this, I want to use units in stock, and then I want to see units ordered. And then when I press enter, my calculation is done. So this will give me a difference. And then when I drag and drop and then add it to the same table visual, then you could see units in stock is 79. And then the order what we got is 54. So the remaining what we have is 25. But for the second product, you could see we have the number in negative. So we have a huge order here, but we don't have this order in stock. So now we are not able to see on which product we have to focus more. This is where conditional formatting will come in picture. So conditional formatting would directly highlight the numbers for you so that you could specifically focus on that. So the way we add the conditional formatting is when you select this table, the table visual, what we have on this report page, we go within the format, and within conditional formatting, you could see multiple options available for us here. uh, when I click on conditional formatting, and then within this drop down, I can add conditional formatting on multiple columns. I could say pick the product name and then change the background color or change the font color based on any other field. But for now, to keep it simple, we are only highlighting the difference column, what we created, and then we want to change the background color here. So I'm enabling the background color. So this will pick the default, but I can click on advanced control option, and within this menu, I could say difference and then the lowest value. When we have, we want to mark it as red. When it is a positive number, then I think we are good. We don't have to focus. And then if you want to keep a diverging, then whenever there is uh, the numbers that are within the range, we are completely okay with that. So when I click on OK, then you could see this now highlights me all the products. So I can click on this different column sorting, and then I'll be able to see that for this specific columns, and I'm completely fine. But if I sort the other way, then you'll be seeing that I don't have any stock for this, but I'm getting a huge order. So this information can be read by the manager in two different way. One is to see what all products are in demand. So you could see the first product what we have here, we don't have any units in stock, but we are getting a huge demand. But if I sort the column again in the other direction, then you could see we have a good amount of stock for the product, and we have a very low orders for the specific one. So they will be very much well prepared whether in their next order whether they want to have more stock for this or not. So you could see using a very simple data, so using only the products table, invoices table, I'm able to build inventory analysis, and this could be directly exported. So let's say if I want to send this to one of the area managers, then they would be just exporting the data. So when I select this table visual towards the top right, I can click on the three dots, and then you could see we have this export data option, and I'll be able to get the list and then send it directly to the to those area managers so that they could have this orders ready, or I could send it directly to the vendors and then I can have those orders ready. Another thing to notice here is this conditional formatting and then the calculations also work when you do a selection or when you do a filtering as well. So let's say if you're only interested in category 1, 2, 3, or to keep it simple, let's say only 1 and 2, then you could see the conditional formatting has been updated here. And then the range calculation is only for category ID 1 and 2. And then the number difference, everything is residing within this. So, yep. And the other thing, what you could do with this is you could uh, duplicate this report page, and let me rename this report page, which is copied, and let me rename this to inventory analysis visuals. So we can try to arrange this report page a little better. So let me clear the slicer selection. So I want to have the slicer selection at the top, and after that I want to have this table visual towards the right. And then you could see just by using one table visual how I'll be able to build multiple charts here. So the first thing what I'll be doing is I'll be copying the table visual, pasting it again, and then moving this to the right, to the left. And from this, I want to remove product name, and then I want to remove units order and then difference. I get only one measure, which is units in stock. And I want to show this as a KPI. That is when instead of using table visual, we will be using card visual. If I select this, then you could see a big number showing up. So this is usually called as KPIs. And I can move this and then show it at the top. I can go within the formatting pane, make multiple settings here, enable background, shadows, different thing. For now, for our first iteration of development, as I mentioned, we will be giving proof of concept. So I'm keeping just the first one. So again, the same step I'm following, copying the table visual, pasting it again, moving it towards the left, removing the field. This time I want to keep orders and then remove anything else, and then reducing the size and then moving it here. Another approach, what I could do is I can duplicate the KPI tile, what I have, and instead of starting from the table visual, I can now select the duplicated the card, KPI card, and from the products table, instead of showing units ordered, so this is the one which is highlighted, I can drag and drop and then try to show the difference here. So you could see we have units in stock, units ordered, and then we have the difference. So someone, any of the manager, when they come here, they would know, hey, we have 964 stock available. But let's say if they are focusing by product, by the category, then they would know for those specific categories what's the amount they are looking for, the current inventory. So once this is done, the other thing what we could do is again copy the table visual and then paste it again and then move towards the left. And we want to show some trending chart. For this purpose, let me use this line and clustered column chart, and then let me increase the size here. So we want to show units in stock, units ordered side by side, and then difference we want to show as a line. Then you could see this is a very good presentation of the data. And if we want to arrange this better, then we can increase the page size. But for now, let me delete this visual. So we could try to see how we can increase the page size, but focus now is completely on this chart. So you could see we have the numbers here which are going negative. So all these products here, we don't have enough inventory, and then towards the left we have enough inventory, but we don't have enough orders here. So this is a very better way of presenting your data. And then within the formatting, so I could come within x-axis and I could increase the minimum category width. So that way I would have enough space to show the data points. So this is the first change I did within the x-axis. And now I want to enable the data labels. And within the data labels, I can scroll down here and you could see I have the option of customizing series. That means I can focus on each specific metrics that I'm showing here. So first is the units in stock. I want to have a color as white, and I want to show the position as inside base, and I don't want to have a background for that. You could see 115, this numbers are showing at the bottom. So same steps we have to follow for units ordered. We want to show white background and we want to show the position as inside base and no background. And then we are done. And then if we now come for difference, so for this, we want to show as orange and we don't want to show the background. But one change what we want to make is we want to increase the size. Let's do it 10. So this is within the data labels what we made the change. And then if we come within the shapes, and then if I turn on the shade area, it will shade the area for me. And then the other option what we have is stroke width if we want to increase or reduce. And then we have either to show as dashed or to show it as a dotted line. And we can also show a marker. So you could see for each data point, we have a marker. Now data labels properly defined. And then if I reduce to see just by one specific category ID, so this data would be very much readable compared to seeing all the categories together. So you could see there is a big difference here. The products which we are showing from the left to the right here. And then if you want to show or change the sorting order, then within this chart visual, towards the top right, we have this option, more options. And then I can say sort by the difference. Instead of showing it descending, I want to show it as ascending here. So this left area will be for my focus. I have to add more inventory. Towards the right, I have to see what all changes I have to make. Okay, makes sense. Let me stop. Let me stop the recording.